Rabbi Shmuley Metzger here at Chabad Sutton with a Torah thought on this week's Torah portion to ponder. There's a very famous verse from this week's Torah portion, which is oft quoted, especially in Chabad Hasidic thought. V'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'seicham. God says, "Make for me a temple, and I will dwell in them." And the great Rabbi, the Shalah, notes that the reason why he uses plural language, them, is to teach us that God doesn't necessarily need mortar and bricks or wood. The temple, more importantly, is to dwell in every single one of us. I saw something fascinating from the third Chabad Rebbe, the Rebbe's namesake, the Tzemach Tzedek, and he says that them can also be the singular, that a human being is very complex, and that there's us at work, there's us at home, and God wants to be with us wherever we are. He wants to permeate our existence, not only when we're in the synagogue, but when we're at work and all our other personalities. God's in the epicenter of who we are, wherever we are, at all times and all places. Interesting that in this line, using this rationale, the Rebbe says something very fascinating. Our Rebbe, Rabbi Schneerson, says about the year that we find ourselves in right now. The year that we are in right now is known as the year of as Hakel. Once every 7 years, the monarch of the Jewish people, the king of the Jewish people, would gather all the people, men, women, and children, and would teach them Torah. In modern parlance of modern language, would psych them up. Be good Jews. Don't be unafraid. And there's a mitzvah which is very highly unusual for children, men, women, and children to come to this event. And the Rebbe said that this is also speaking to the individual, that there's a man and there's a woman and a child. Every single one of us has something within us. There's an inner child, an inner woman, an inner man, and where a human being is very complex. So to gather ourselves and to be a unified person, it's interesting that we just recited this past Shabbos, and the blessing is that God should unite all the dispersed people from throughout the world. And the deeper meaning of this is that we shouldn't be dispersed, we shouldn't be conflicted, we shouldn't be scattered, but be a unified person. And this will bring happiness. It's interesting that in the American, I think it's in the Declaration of Independence, it mentions life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we find ourselves in the month of Adar, which is the month of happiness. And what's implied by this is that life and liberty we can attain, but we're never really happy, but we have the right to pursue happiness. However, it's interesting that the prophet, Isaiah, Yeshaya, says the blessing about joy, and he says, Simchas Olam al Rosham, that when the Mashiach comes, we will be crowned with eternal joy. Sasin v'simcha yasigu. Not only that we can pursue joy, but we attain joy. Or according to another interesting interpretation, is that joy is running after us and catches us and tackles us. And what is running and what's being pursued? And what's pursuing v'nasu yagin v'anacha, in that sorrow and sighing run away from us, which is fascinating language. So kain tiyalanu, may it be for you, I, and us, happiness, true and revealed joy, and may we have the ultimate joy with the coming of our righteous Mashiach. May it be speedily in our days. Have a wonderful Shabbos.